G'day and welcome back to another episode of Togl. Well, to kick off this week, what I need to do is rewire the trailer. She's been getting a bit old and battered, but I went to rewire it and realised that the plug's totally gone. So I need a new plug. So I had to quickly race down into town. I popped down to the super cheap auto down there. My mate Seamus helped me out. He's helped me out several times now. Anyway, he hooked me up with an inbuilt LED circuit tester and pin set, flat pin set. So that's really good. It's got the little instructions on the back of how the colouring should be wired up. So long as the cars are wired correctly, if I wire it according to this, all my lights should work correctly. So anyway, I'm actually going to replace all the cable as well, because that cable's a bit old. It's got a few marks underneath it where it's hit stuff and whatnot. So anyway, we've had it out in the bush and sticks get jammed against it. So I've got a brand new lot of cable. So we'll get this cabled up and we'll see how we go. And I'll show you, hopefully, how simple it is. We'll see how we go. Sucks getting old. I'll put your glasses on. Alrighty. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what we're doing here is we're just taking the black outer coating off, like that, to expose the 5 cores that we've got. So this trailer only runs on a 5 core. Even though it's a 7-pin plug, there's just 2 that won't get used. You can see they're all coloured, so you just match colour for colour. It should be straightforward. The colours match the same colours in the other one from the trailer, which I can't get into frame. But anyway, trust me, they do. So there's the old one. There's the new one. Same colour match. Alright, here we go. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to wire them into the plug and then I'll feed the other end back down through the trailer to the lights. So what you need on this is a tiny little Phillips head to undo. There's a little screw in there. So by undoing that little screw, I'm not sure if you're able to see it in there, but there's a the end of that screw goes into that little hole. Then you poke the wire in. We want the green one. Poke that in there. While it's in there, you then do it up nice and tight. And that's the first one wired in. Now I've got to do the other 4 colours. One thing that you've got to do though first, and I forgot. Okay, the one thing that I forgot to do, and I'm sure it's common, I'm sure a lot of people have done it. Thankfully I only got 1 wire connected in, but what you've got to do is, before you go putting any wires in, is you've got to put the secure cap over, and then you've got to put the other little bit over it as well. Okay, they have to go on first. Then you can go ahead and put all of these ends into there. Like I said, they've got to go into the ends there. So I'm going to do that now. I'll get back to you in a second. So now we have the colours all lined into the colours that they're supposed to be on, right there. And the reason that I needed to put this little bit on first was because that lays in there like that. This piece, the cover plate, goes on top like that. That goes inside it. That's a little waterproofing part. Stops the water and the muck getting in, and then you need that cap, and that just screws on. So it's pretty straightforward. So that's all wired up now, ready to go. So now what I do, get to the other end of this, start to feed it all the way through the frame of the trailer and down to the lights. And then I'll do a similar sort of connection on the lights. So I'll see you down there in a minute and we'll do the lights. Alright, so I've stripped all this cable, pulled it all the way back through. Now I've just got to take this light off so I can get into the back of it. You could use a little shifter, a little spanner. I'm just going to go with a little socket because I've got them handy. Right, so it looks like what they've done is, this is a hard unit, like it's a hardwired unit. There is under here, looks like they've spliced the wires together, and I think that's what I'm going to have to do, so that needs to go back on. That's a shame. It's going to make things a little bit more awkward for me. Okay, I think the only thing I can do is really just cut this and take a good look at it. Although, I'm thinking what I maybe should do, because all that's all wired elsewhere, is actually cut this back here and wire straight onto that. That's only one connection. That's going to be way easier. I'm glad I thought of that before I cut those wires in under there. Let me show you what I'm looking at in under there. So yeah, it makes much more sense for me to actually just cut this big length of cable that's come from up the front. So I'm just going to cut that there. So I know the colours match. Okay, so I've dragged the cable all the way through from the front. There's the end that I've just trimmed off. This goes to the lights at the back. Now all I've got to do is join this onto this one, and we should be good. So I'll give myself a bit of extra. I can always wrap the slack up later, Better to have a bit too long than a bit too short, eh? So I'll take that off there. Right, we're getting there, they're all exposed now. Let's trim it a little bit more. And as you can tell, light is running out fast. Okay, there we go. Now I just got to trim the plastic of each of the coloured ones. They're quite simple to do. You just want to give it like just enough pressure to get a grip of the plastic, and then you just push it off. Just push it off with your thumb. And if you've got just enough pressure, the plastic will snap off and leave the wire. Too much pressure, you cut through the wire, not enough, and it just slips off without taking any of the plastic. So now I can join these together, again, matching colour to colour. Now, some people just wind them together one at a time, like start with yellows, for instance. They'll just wind them together. They might solder them, wrap them in electrical tape. Now I've got these little sealers. These are fantastic. I love these things. So I can't remember the exact name of them, but they're like a little heat shrink tube. The red in that is glue, and in the middle you might be able to make out there is silver. That silver is solder. So you might be able to make out in there the red, and then the silver in the middle. So the silver is solder, so that's heat shrink. That will heat shrink around. So all I need to do is I get my two. So I get my two wires like that. I want to slide this tube over one of them. Now, I don't have this long enough. I need to be able to get right back. So I'll strip a bit more of the protective outer layer down. Let's try again. Okay, so now I've got a lot more to play with. So I feed that all the way over and all the way down. Poking it all the way through like that. Now, what I do is I wrap these two together, the yellow with the yellow, like that. Then I want to slide this tube back up, and I want that silver to be right over where the copper one's joined. Now you can use a cigarette lighter. I've actually got a heat gun, and when you heat that, it'll heat shrink and hold, making it weatherproof, watertight, and also melting the solder so that it solders it together as well. All right, and you don't want that to be, you don't want to make that too hot, because you don't want to melt right through the plastic. You want that to seal. So there's one. Now I'll just continue to do this with the other four colours. Once all they're done and they're all done together like that, then I'll wrap the whole lot with electrical tape. So now I just need to wrap the entire amount in electrical tape, and then that'll be good to go. Well, we need to test it anyway and see whether there were any other breaks, any other damage to the cables, and then I'll have to get that held up out the way as well. So I'll get that sorted out. Okay, I've just backed the car up. It is getting dark. It actually looks brighter on the screen there that I can see of what it actually is. So backed her up, we'll hook her up. Yep, there we go. So that's working. Yep. Okay, all working fantastic. Now there is one more light though. There is a little light just here that lights up the number plate. Now I won't be doing nighttime driving with the trailer at the moment, and that wire is broken, but that's broken in a different place. I will need to get that fixed, so I'm going to have to actually get some special wire and fix that up. But anyway, it's going to be fine for daytime driving. Indicators and brakes, that's all I needed, which is fantastic, because tomorrow I'm going to pick up 2 fully grown apricot trees and a couple of other bits and pieces. So I'm going to go and get some dinner ready now, and tomorrow we'll hit the road and we'll go and get those trees. Well, it's a beautiful morning this morning. Another chilly one though. Check out this photo. You'd swear that that was snow on the ground. It's actually just ice. It's just the frost. Anyway, the air is finally starting to warm up a little bit, and it's time that I got on with a bit of work. Now, one of the things that I want to do before I go out and pick up those apricot trees is I want the chickens to be able to get in underneath this hutch. I built it originally that they couldn't, but the dry ground underneath and the fact that the sun shines in along that back area, it's a great opportunity for them to have a dirt bath in there if I can let them get in at it. So that's the plan, is to put some chicken wire and a bit of timber around the outside edge there, and just make it, and then I'll remove the chicken wire over at the front so that they can actually get in underneath there. Give them a little bit more shelter on rainy days as well, because you'd think, well, you know, they can always go back in the coop, but they don't like going in the coop until it's time to go to bed, even on rainy days. So if I give them that space in underneath, that will hopefully give them that little bit of extra shelter there. So I'm just going to get that done this morning. I was really pleased that that wiring worked well last night. There's always that element of doubt. You don't know whether there's something else that's broken or whatnot, but very simple. You know, there's 5 wires inside that run of cable, all different colors. You just match the colors up. Like, it really is quite a simple process. Not very hard at all. So anyway, that's been done. That's great. Let's get on with this chicken coop. So the first piece is a little panel that I'm going to put in the bottom there. The sun really doesn't shine that side, so I can just put a panel. It's easier than trying to do a little strip of wire. 1740, need to cut a piece. Doesn't quite fit in because I measured from the top up here and that log slopes in, so I'm just going to grab the chisel, knock a bit of that timber out. Actually, no, what I might do is I might just I think I'll just cut this at an angle here. I'll just cut that to fit, and then it'll slide forward and then it'll fit in. So what I'm doing here, I just want to put a bar at the bottom to nail the wire onto, the chicken wire onto. So I've just trimmed that one up, just trimmed the angles. You can see I've marked here and up there. I just need to take a little angle off so I can recess that back in just a little bit, make it look a bit neater and straighter. And I've just added a top bar there as well. Now the reason I needed that top bar is because I actually need to build a set of stairs at some point. They'll sit on that to get to that door. Anyway, I'll get this one cut, get it back into place. Okay, you can see just back over on that side, I decided to put a panel in there as well. Rather than a little brace, I had an old panel there. It fit, so I just screwed the panel on over the back. So now what I'm going to do, I've got some chicken wire just up there. I'm going to run that across the back here. And then the piece that I've got running same distance on the other side, on the front, I will undo all of that and I will actually fold it around to be the side over here and reuse that bit. Obviously the other end is totally covered up with that panel, so, and then the chickens will be able to get in underneath here. So almost done. Things are going well. Now I don't have to make this part here predator proof because the chickens will only ever be in this part during the day, and of a day the predators, which is the quolls, that's the only thing that's really going to attack them, other than like hawks and stuff, are not going to be able to get in through here, and they're not out during the day anyway. So yeah, don't have to be too concerned about it. It's just to stop the chickens getting out. This piece that I just cut off the top there should now, if I'm lucky, I can just make that fit in there. Very good. So the wire is just not quite long enough. It's probably about 50 mil short of getting to the post. So I'm going to put this panel in and that'll make up the gap.
Yes, Anita, laying down on the job again.
All right, all done. You see the Sussex are already enjoying their new little area. I'll get out of here and let the Quambies come and check out their new area. Well, it's good to get another task ticked off the list. That's something I've been wanting to do for a while, so I'm glad that it's done, and it'd be beneficial to the chickens as well. Now, one thing with chickens is they can get mites and lice and that sort of thing, and having those dust baths, that just helps them get rid of those mites so they don't get as bad, the infestations. I've also purchased something called diamatosis earth, which is kind of like a crushed silica, I think it is. Anyway, sprinkling some of that in the dirt that's under there, that will help control mites and lice as well. So it's really good. It serves a multi-function area, it is down there, so that's great. Anyway, on the road now, and it's the first time I've towed the trailer with the Sportage, and it seems to be towing quite well, although a little noisy. It does clunk a little bit. Once it's got a load in it, probably not so much. Anyway, I've got about an hour's drive ahead of me, so yeah, I'm just going to enjoy it. It is a very nice car to drive. Well, here we are. It's a little orchard, and for some reason they're getting rid of all the trees. I think maybe they just bought the land or something, who knows, I haven't asked. But yeah, they've already dug a few up by the look of it. There's some other people here to collect some as well. Where should I park?
If you just want to park up and sort of along the fence.
Yep.
Because there's plenty of room to spin around and they'll
Yep.
shoot you back out the way you sort of.
Okay.
Yep. Go for it.
Alright, so they apparently they just use the forks, pop them straight out the ground. So, and then once they're on the trailer, I'll need to prune them up a little bit. Little fella's getting a ride in the tractor too. That's a good way of pulling them out. It's good that the ground's nice and soft. God damn, look at how easy that was. That's fantastic. Straight into the trailer. Wow. I'm glad I don't have any low bridges to go under on the way home. Geez, we're going to have fun trying to get two in there. Straight in. That's pretty good going. Now we'll just go back and get the second one. Glad I had a 7 before trailer and not a 6 before, because it's going to need every bit of it. Alright, we'll pop this camera down and help out there. Right, so 2 trees loaded, and as you can see, it is hanging out a bit off the side of the car, on both sides actually. I'm not too worried about the height, I might just leave that. I don't care about the height of it, but I will definitely run down each side with the secateurs. I'm just going to prune that off, and then I'll run a ratchet strap around it. I'm not quite sure how I'll do that yet, but anyway, I'll get it cleaned up and then I'll show you before we drive off, if I remember. So as you can see, I've trimmed them down, and still tall, but yeah, trimmed down. I've got a strap in there, and they're all actually, it's actually quite solid. That base, because it's so wide, they're still really solid on there. So they're not going to move around much at all. It's the best I get on the road and get these home. Just a quick update on the dam. It's very slowly filling. It's getting there, but it's taken its time because there is still some water flowing underground. So just on the other side of the dam wall, that creek is still flowing, because it's very rocky down through the bottom where the old creek bed is, and the water's still getting in through that. So it's good because the dam levels are rising, but we've still got water flowing down the creek, so we really haven't impeded much. As I said, we wouldn't. And then once it gets a bit higher, there'll be water flowing through the pipes as well. And then that creek's just going to have the same amount of water it normally would have. We've just got this little bit of a contingency in there. So it's going to look great when this is all done. It really is. Looking forward to it. But it'll only go up another maybe 8-10 inches. It's just going to go up to the bottom of that pipe. Well, 2 days ago I got the tree. Yesterday I planted the tree, or trees. So there's one in there, and the other one just down here. So I've pruned about a good third off it, which is what they reckon you should do. And it's now coming into winter. All the leaves are gone. She'll be dormant. So it should settle in really well. And the best part, not that it probably needs it, but we've got rain coming in the next few hours, I think. So yeah, that's really good too. Have that rain coming in. It'll really settle it in, and hopefully both of those apricot trees survive. We might get some apricots in springtime, so that'd be really cool, summertime. Anyway, that's all we've got time for this week, so thanks very much again for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed this one. It's been a busy one, and the next couple of weeks are going to be busy ones too. So anyway, until then, stay safe and take care. I'll catch you guys next Friday. Have a great weekend. Cheers.